What are you doing, camera? There it is. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, happy, what is it, Saturday? Yeah, good stuff. Today we're just working on some target loads here in this variety. So yeah, we're just getting set up. Make sure to say hey when you stop in and hit the little thumb guy. Boop. So Mr. YouTube admin, this is not instruction, we're just hanging out. And where's the chat? Let's see. All messages, please. Because for whatever reason, it defaults to the top message. I don't know what that's referring to. But we're just getting started for the day, so we got to make sure we're dialed in. What's up, Mr. Flatlander? How are we doing tonight? Hope you're having a good weekend so far. We're doing pretty good out yonder way. Since we're just getting started, we got to make sure we're still dialed in. Which means I'm just going to test a few powder charges for the weight. Make sure those are still good. Cold and snow, but you got out and shot today? Heck yeah, what'd you shoot? What'd you get to shoot? Any shooting day's a good day, right? Right. Testing some new Christmas presents or what? Where we at? One more. Wow, look at that. It's pretty much exactly where I left it. America. I still want to pop out that primer though, so there we go. And we'll just check our overall length on the next one that comes out. 38 wad cutter out of a 3-screw Blackhawk 4 5/8. I'm not familiar with the, what do you call it? The screw patterns, but that's pretty cool. Blackhawks are nice. 148 full wad cutter with 4 grains of 231, testing different crimps. Nice. Do you go all the way up and over the bullet, or you got a little bit sticking up above the crimp? How do you seat those? I don't have a wad cutter mold, so I haven't loaded a whole lot of those. Yeah, I'm using some Fiocchi primers. We got some, what is this? The Lee 95 grain I was doing the other day. I was going to measure the overall length, but now it's in the bucket. So we'll check the next one. Okay. Wow. 1.1. I thought I'd shorten these a little bit. Apparently not. 1.1. 1.2. Yeah. Good enough. I did the plunker the other day, so I know that whatever length I sat on, they work real good. Anybody else doing anything fun this weekend? You shooting tomorrow? You stuck in the snow? I got some snow here, but it was already almost up to 40 today, and it'll hit 40 again tomorrow. So whatever snow we did get, it's gonna be gone here shortly. Excuse me. I say that, and right now it dropped down to in the 20s again. So dropped down in the 20s again. And then it thaws out during the day, so that's when you gotta watch out for the black ice and stuff all over the roads. You're like, oh yeah, there's no more snow. It was hot today. And by hot today, I meant the snow melted, but yeah, no more snow. And then it freezes, and it's basically clear, black ice. No good. Stay away from that. Stay away from the black ice. Three screws were pre-73, had no transfer bar. Post-73 did, and only 2 screws. Huh. That's cool. Thanks for explaining. Appreciate it. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't show a lot because YouTube is them. So unless they want to jump on the Zuckerberg train and be about freedom and free speech, Mr. Allen, what is up? How you doing this evening? Welcome, welcome. Doing any shooting or loading? What you working on? How do you guys like that thumbnail? There's a tool now that you can have them generate a thumbnail and a script and notes and stuff for you. And the thumbnail I picked something that they thought what powder coating bullets is. It's pretty funny. First test crimp was bullet fully seated and heavy crimp. Second one was at the last crimp groove. First was incredibly inaccurate. Second saw 3 in the bowl, 1 to 7. One fire at 25. That's pretty good at 25 though. Nice. I wonder what the difference is going all the way over the bullet versus having that one groove sticking out there. I think the one time I did load them though, I went all the way over the top. I don't remember them shooting horribly, but I can't recall it was amazing, so yeah, someone just sent in a little sample pack, so I don't really recall. Just loaded them up and had a nice range day with them. Pardon me. Probably error on your part. Interesting. How do you you just use your normal seating stem and it just centers on top of the wad cutter and goes down over it? I figured maybe. Or have you seen, I think it was Elvis Ammo I saw do like 10 years ago. He used the sizing stem for his Lee Sizer die as a seating stem. In his seating die, you just flip it over and put it in your seating die from Lee, and you can use that flat sizing stem as a flat seating stem at the same time. If you were unaware, it's a pretty cool trick. Works for anything with a flat nose. I could use it for these because it's flat on the top, so it just pushes straight down and it's flat, so interchangeable parts. It's pretty neat. Pretty ingenious thinking. Yeah, sorry, I'm just grabbing the brass I already have that's already been deprimed, and I know these have been swaged, so I know I'm not going to get caught on, say, one of these nasty military cases that have been crimped and have primer sealant. I'm skipping those. They got tumbled, but somehow I mixed them in with my already processed brass, so I'm just thumbing through them here as we go. So the mixed head stamps, and I have some that are obviously fully processed and ready. Somehow I just mixed a freaking bucket of tumbled ones in there at the same time. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. Although I am still running the sizer die here on stage 1. So it would be punching out the primer pockets. Like I said, I was looking for any of them that might be crimped. Like these silly Winchester ones. For whatever reason, they crimp those primers into place. It's not always an issue repriming either, but I like to know that I have at least reamed or swaged them out once. You know what I'm saying? Good evenings. You live in TN, sir. Tennessee is where I am at. Where are you at? Anyways, yeah, I'm in Tennessee. We had maybe 4 inches of snow, but like I was just saying a minute ago, it's pretty much gone. There's maybe an inch or 2 left in the backyard, but the roads are all clear. The driveway melted, probably because I threw, salt down on it, but... Anyways, yeah, I hope you're having a good evening as well. You doing any loading or shooting lately? Getting out to the range tomorrow? You doing any testing today? What you up to? Mr. Ammo Alchemist official. What is up, brother? How we doing? Hope you're doing just swell this evening. How about you, Sarah? Been loading or shooting? You're always loading or shooting. Indiana, I meant to say, are you live on Twitch? Yeah, we got 12 in the last week. Nope, just working. Hey, man, you gotta work if you gotta work. We got, I had maybe 3 or 4 inches here in Tennessee. We got family up in Indiana, though. They probably have at least a foot. Am I on Twitch? No, sir, not today. I didn't feel like setting all that crap up, and it's basically on a potato camera anyways, so you're not really missing a whole lot. But if you have any questions on the process, I'll do my best to elaborate. I'm running the Big Blue machine, which is the smallest Big Blue machine. Actually, no, I guess the square deal B is smaller than the 550. But compared to the 6 or 750 or 1050, 1150 setups, it's not a true progressive press. It's basically just an upside down turret head. You know what I'm saying? You have to manually index it, but it does run each stage, every stage at once. So I guess you can use it as a single stage turret, but every station is full at this current time. Mr. Scott Peterson, how are we doing, sir? Are you by chance, do you play bass, Mr. Scott? Do you play the bass guitar, Scott? Or are you a different Scott Peterson? Anyways, are you any good at 357? I have a few loads. I was actually recently, I just picked up some 125 grain XTPs. So I was going to play with those, but with H1, no, sorry, not, well, H110 was the kind of secondary load, but accurate, sorry again. Alliant 2400, I had a really nice load with the 158 grain semi-wad cutters. Or maybe it was the round flat nose from Lee. Oh yeah, smooth. Smooth. Have I ever used standard primers with it? Yeah, all the time. If I'm not running at maximum pressure Magnum loads, then I just run pistol primers. Which is basically until it's up to like, 9mm runs at almost 32K, I believe, PSI. So if your data shows the pressure, unless you're past 35K, I wouldn't worry about a Magnum primer. Or if the data says you need a Magnum, like H110 probably needs a Magnum to get ignited properly, then that's different. So I guess there's a few reasons to use a Magnum primer, either pressure related, one has a harder cup, or ignition purposes. If you have a very full case of a slow burning powder like H110, you need a Magnum primer to get a more uniform ignition, especially with a straight wall case. A nice crimp can help with that, but it's easy to overdo as well. So that didn't answer any of your questions. Didn't answer any of your questions. If you have Shooter's World Heavy Pistol, they specifically note that Magnum primers are not required for it. So there's that. But if you look at, say, just go to the Hodgdon website and pick 357 Magnum, and then pick 158 grain or 125, it'll list every single powder. So you can start with like tight group or 231 or something that's really fast burning. Those are going to be your lower pressure loads, but still like, probably hotter than a 9mm as far as velocity. Pushing that same weight of bullet. And then it'll show slower powders on down the list where you get like your H110 or 4227 or CFE black or any of those slower burning pistol powders. So it's really, what's your goal, What's your goal? What powder, standard, medium pressure? Well, we can look at some load data, I reckon. Not in any hurry to finish these last few hundred loads here. What bullet? Give me a bullet weight. And are you shooting jacketed or cast? That'll help us narrow down a little bit at least. And yeah, most will show Magnum data. But I can pull out one of my manuals here and we can look. So for instance, the Lee book, they just basically copy everybody else. So they throw Hodgdon together with Sierra, and then they'll take Minavori data and just lump everything together. So Lee is good if you need a broad spectrum. I think it was a Keith 170. Yeah. 357. So 170, they only list jacketed bullets, but you can see, 700X, they're only moving 1100 at 32,000 PSI. So that's still within standard primer pressures. And then they go accurate number 7, still at 34K. And then you can see from here up, it's in the 40,000s, 41,000, 42,000. And then for whatever reason, little gun is lower pressure, but the highest velocity with 17 grains. And I would bet you're going to need Magnum primers to ignite all 17 grains that are probably compressed. So you can probably start, they're at 15 grains. That's probably a good starting load, I would say, 1400. Or if you've got pistol powders, accurate number 7, tight group, long shot, HS6, these are all available today. H110, that's another good one of my favorites. But anyways, hopefully that helps. We got some 170 grain XTP. Yeah, there's 2400 data. Enforcer. Yeah. So really, if you're using a pistol powder, I would use a pistol primer at the lower pressures. If you're using a Magnum pistol powder at the Magnum pressures, then I would use a Magnum primer. If that makes some sense. Let's see what this old cast handbook. This one's my favorite, by the way. It's missing the cover. The Lyman 3rd edition. You can find a PDF for this one. Oopsie. Yeah, just use your favorite search engine, and they'll be glad to send you a PDF of this if you just search correctly. So let's find the 357 Magnum. Does this go rifle and then pistol? I think so. All right. Maybe? Yeah. I love how they have some 9mm data, though, from way back in the day. That's awesome. Anyways, 38 Super, 380, 38 Special. Okay, 357 Magnum. And that looks like a somewhat Keith style, 168 grain. And they list copper units of pressure here, but you can see 4227. That's one of those hotter loads. SR 4759, that doesn't even exist anymore. Herco, that's a shotgun powder. I think it exists, but Alliant probably isn't making any. Blue Dot, same thing. It exists, but Alliant isn't making any. 2400. That's one of my favorites. Again, Alliant's probably not making any. 296 is the same as H110. And they designate that reduced loads are not recommended by Winchester. But the H110 load, which is identical to 296 if you're unaware, designates factory velocity duplication. So yeah, down at 18,900 CUP. That's within standard pistol primer pressures, but I don't know if it can properly ignite the H110. Oh. I don't know, brother. It just depends on what powder you're using. Just depends on your powder. If you have a lot of them cast up, how does that number compare to your available brass or primers? You know? If you only have a few pieces of brass, I'd probably load up some more serious stuff. Not super serious, but just a little more serious. And, train with what you're going to carry or be using. But if you're just looking for a nice day at the range, you want to share. You want some new shooters to get not hurt their wrists from a heavy day of wheel gunning, you know. Then do some soft target loads. Very nice info. Thank you so much. We'll download this video for reference. Oh, no problem. Love your info. Wish you could show your work. Loaded 2400 H110, but use Magnum primers. I have more standard than wanted to use. Hey, yeah, good thing you use the Magnums for those two powders. Although 2400 is sort of like a stick, you know, little itty bitty sticks. So those are probably easier to ignite than a compressed load of H110, where there's all that surface area of the powder is going to be compressed, so there's not any room for oxygen. So that flame has to push through that column of powder, whereas the 2400 is more, again, they're little sticks, and so how they settle, there's air pockets in between, which lets the column of the primer, flame or ignition or whatever, to more easily light that style of powder. I'm glad that's helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions. 1,800 cases prime, waiting for data. Use special for newbie. Yep, there you go, same thing. Or not same thing, but downloading your magnums to the level of 38 specials. That's just a waste of good brass, right? No, I'm kidding. I've got a mix, but I do want to load up some of them really pissing hot 125 XTPs I just grabbed. Maybe it's a spear bullet. It's not a gold dot. Might be a deep core or deep curl, or I'm not quite sure. A little heavy. I just started reloading and being careful. Well, that's good. That's a good way to start. Wise decisions, sir. I still really don't load that hot. And if I do, I'll have those set aside for when I need a hot load. But for the most part, I've got my volume is going to be for my target loads and stuff for the range and whatnot, you know. I'm not going to load up, hunting bullet XYZ at 40 to 50 cents a piece. I'm going to load up FMJs or cast bullets for very super cheap compared to that. So bulk loading, cheap projectiles, not maximum pressure, because you can also save usually a few grains of powder and stretch out those faster burning powders more economically than if you're using, 16 grains of H110 compared to 5 grains of tight group. You'll be maybe 100 feet per second slower, a couple hundred feet per second slower, but you're using 4 times less powder, I know I wasn't compressing and did the ladder style and medium pressure area. Well, there you go. That's a good place to start. I mean, there's really no need, like, unless you're saying, this is my bear defense load, or this is the one I keep at the nightstand, then there's no need really to just load hot just because. And I know you just said you loaded some Keith, or passed up some Keith style. That guy was crazy. You don't gotta load him like he did. I hear he quite enjoyed some spicy loads. Didn't he actually use a 44? Wasn't that his jam? Not a 357, although it's obviously the same, style of bullets. Purchase friend stuff you wanted to get out, so I have a ton of stuff to learn when I have. Heck yeah. There you go. Using factory for serious loads until you know what you're doing. That is smart. Good job. Mm-hmm. I got a new Howa 1500 and 350 Legends, so I had to pick up one box of factory ammo just to see what to expect from it. And then I'll just play around and load up, you know, all of my plinking rounds. Probably just 357 maximum levels of 350 Legend. Mr. MCK, what is up, sir? How we doing? Welcome, welcome. How's the snow up yonder way? Are you still are you still a Hoosier, sir? I think we have someone else that's also a Hoosier if they're still around. I was once a Hoosier, but now I'm a Tennessean. Isn't that a strange word? Isn't that a strange word? I should actually spot check. Whoop. Don't look, I gotta do the plunker. Don't look at me, YouTube. I'm not doing anything over here. Fabulous, yes sir. I'm just outside of Greencastle. Ah. Yep, we're plunking. I can't show you, but yeah, also, Mr. Scott, make sure that you can plunk your rounds in and out. So that's, you know, you flare them out and then you got to crimp it back. Sometimes if you just want to light crimp, you got to make sure they can still go plunking. Okay, spot check complete. And we are at approximately 1.118 with a 95 grain Lee. Look at this little turd. Doink. And just a little dude. These are the ones we did on the live stream like a month or two ago. So many odd calibers as well as new to learn. Heck gets dizzy with all this. Yeah, there's a whole lot of specific stuff about random stuff. Especially doing wildcats and handling for it, 284 and such. Mr. Last Nomad, welcome aboard. What ammunition we making? We are doing some 9mm with the Lee 356 95 round flat. Winchester 244, Fiocchi small pistol primers, mixed brass, etc. Yes, sir. Yeah, Scott, there's a whole bunch of intricacies between rifle or pistol or straight wall rifle or rebitted rim or rimmed or so on and so forth. Whole lots of exceptions and fun stuff like that to learn about. That's most of the fun, because as soon as you think you learn something, no, there's more to it. Do you have a chronograph by chance? Because as someone that started without a chronograph for probably a couple years, they're very valuable. Knowing where you're at, what, like obviously if you look at the book data, the velocity they're going to tell you is based off of a barrel that's probably much larger than your barrel. So like you look at rifle data, it's probably a 24-inch barrel, and you're walking around with a 16-inch. Obviously, you're not going to be hitting 3,200 with your 55 grain 223. You're going to be at like 2,800. But you're still going to be at the same pressure. So that's what's important, to know how your barrel actually produces velocity compared to the book. And if you have the same cartridge and different barrel lengths, that's a lot of fun to compare velocity through the different barrels. Megabait, what's up? How we doing? Finally caught you live. Welcome aboard, sir. Happy Saturday afternoon, evening. It's almost freaking midnight. Probably midnight if you're on the East Coast. All cast for lube. Going to hate when I have to cast, as I would have. Ooh, the next big boy is the Garmin. Heck yeah. If I had some if I didn't buy so much other crap, I would have a Garmin by now. How about that? But I'm still using the old classic bunny ears, which work fine under proper conditions, but you can use the Garmin in the middle of the night in the darkness, so it's really nice. The Caldwell one I have not any experience with, so I can't comment on the Velociradar. Such a silly name. And it's like the Garmin is, oh, there's still primers in there, huh? The Garmin is smaller than this priming tray, and then the Caldwell is like freaking massive. So just that alone. What size sinkers are we making, sir? We have some these are the 95 grain sinkers that we did on the live casting, actually. So these are the same exact sinkers. They're just finally being sunk. Finally sinking them in. Or at least, yeah, I'm not a fishing guy. I don't know anything about fishing, so my fishing innuendo pretty much zero. But yeah, these are those same sinkers. Same sinkers, yep, the Lee 35695. Ease of use and hardly no raids. Makes a difference, not wasting shots. Yes, sir. I'm sure eventually over time, if you chronographed every single shot and you had to pay for, well, you're obviously paying, but the ones that didn't read, if you had to pay extra for those, or if you just counted that cost and you took it for only that purpose to collect the velocity data, then it could obviously cost a lot more than just the sticker price. That's a very interesting take, sir. Huh. Intriguing. I feel like I'm running low on powder. I've only got like an inch left in the powder measure up here. But that's probably going to easily cover the couple hundred bullets I have left. If it's that many. Maybe a little over 100. Ooh, just got done doing some Swiss 7.5 ounce. Ooh, the old 7.5 Swiss. The last Swiss I picked up only came in 8 ounce blocks. That was a very poor joke. I understand if you want to unsubscribe and block me. Ooh, for the K31. Nice. I so very much wish that milsurp was still a thing. Now you gotta be like a ballin' crypto bro to afford milsurp. I forget what site it was, but maybe a month or two ago, you know, I got an email and it was like, oh, we got some stuff in stock and grades varying, and some of them don't have pictures, but you just got to read the descriptions. And it was like, okay, what'd you get? And you go to the site, you click through, so they get to collect their data that you clicked on the link, and then it's like, hey, bro, we have a crate full of C grade, and then a mixed crate of all mixed match serial numbers that were all put together as parts. And those were also from C grade guns, or D, or whatever. It's like, man, I don't want any of that crap. Not for $500, $600, $700, $800. And then they say they're CNR, but you still have to get it transferred and all that crap. Sure would be nice if they would just go ahead and abolish all those agencies, making it harder for me to collect obsolete. Oopsie, that's two I missed in the past minute. Go all day. Oh boy, she's gonna blow. Ghost kid. Refill. Yep. There we are. Uh-oh, don't flip over, primer. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Wink. Oh, then. Apparently I have some brass to prep on. I know you're thinking, what, it's just 9 mil. I know it's just 9 mil, but half of it's like crappy Winchester and you know, those are all crimped. But see, this one I have previously swaged. So you can see that crimp was rolled out. Ah. Only one live feed going. Yes, sir. I'm not on, not twitching today. No, there's not really a whole lot to, not a lot to see. I guess not any more or less than normal, but honestly, I was being a lazy fuck and didn't set up the computer. How about that? I don't have an excuse. I thought we would just roll on the phone here. Which was, you know, I should have done the Twitcher. That's what I get for being a lazy shit. Because my backup channel with the replays, I'm up to 10 subs over there, so that's pretty sweet. We're up to 10 subs on the backup channel. Which obviously you don't have to go to if I'm not freaking recording it to put up. So whatever you do, don't go and sub to the backup channel for when this one gets deleted. Although I do have a Rumble account, have a Rumble account, but they quit allowing it to sync with YouTube, so it doesn't automatically rip the videos to YouTube. So I don't feel like uploading it on 7 different places. Why do you say crappy Winchester? Do they always crimp? No, not always. They have, probably won't be able to find any right here off the top, but okay, I lied. One of them's actually, so you can see this one says WMA. It has the NATO cross and it has a date. That's how you can tell it's a NATO casing. And then you can see that ring around where the pocket is. That's where they crimped it. And since this one's been deprimed, I also have reamed out or swaged the crimp away. So no problem with that one. And then I say they're all crappy, but this one is actually the commercial version where it just says Win and 9mm Luger. So these ones are not crimped, but I'm still putting it over here in the probably needs cleaned again. And I'll prep those separately. But yeah, not all Winchesters the same. Sorry for the confusion. Just like rifle brass, if it has a date on it, that means it's a military casing. Same with 308, 223, and 556, all of that. If it has the little NATO cross or a date, it's going to be a military case, which means you're going to have a crimp. Didn't know they did NATO stuff. Yeah, I forget the loading, but it's like their 100 and 124 grain, whatever the Army spec is, 1,100 feet per second. They make a load for that for LE training and whatever. And apparently it was cheap at one point because I have a lot of it from picking it up at the range. And then there's this crap mixed in here where it's just like, doesn't even look like brass anymore. I don't really want that scratching up my dies. So we're going to throw him in the trash. Luckily, 9mm is so plentiful, you don't have to sweat throwing $1 out the window. Like if I crush some 450 Bushmaster or something, I'd be like, damn it, there went a $1 bill. What about the 4.6mm? Well, sir, them's itty bitty, aren't they? 4.6, what is that? 20, 21 or 20 cal? Is that a 20 cal? Sorry, I don't metric, but 5.56 is a 22 caliber. It's 4.6. Is that a 20 maybe? What is that cartridge? I know it's not that new. It's like 4.6 by 30 or some kind of crazy thing that was their response to the 5.7 by 28, the FN round. If I'm not mistaken. Good to know, got some Lake City 30 carbine stuff. Nice. Friend already swaged already. That's good to know. My favorite tool for checking whether or not it's been swaged are these right here. These are like $10 a piece. Go pick these up from somewhere. Ballistic tool swage gauge. You've got small and large pockets. If you've never seen these before, they're awesome. So I just added the red so I know it's the no-go side, but there's obviously a go and a no-go side. This is smaller. It'll tell you if you can fit in where it's been crimped. And then this larger side will tell you it's either blown out and too big, or if it'll fit within the small one. Always save your brass before I knew of reloading. Thinking ahead for once. Nice, dude. It's a high power 22. Interesting. So anyways, quick demonstration. So this one is actually crimped. Let's make sure we can reprime. The go gauge passes. It's pretty square too. You can tell there's not a lot of wiggle there. And then if this were too loose and it were all blown out and reloaded 10 times, then this bigger side would slide right in, but it does not fit. So for $10, this is great if you're doing a lot of military brass or just range brass and you want to know and check. Or if you're like, man, I've reloaded those 5 or 8 or 10 times. I remember priming them last time. There were a few that felt loose. Now you can do this and then cull out the crappy ones. So that's one of the really cheap things you gotta have on your bench. Yeah, also, sorry, reloading is a gigantic time and money sink if you want it to be. So you can be as simple as you want or as complex as you want. And I like to be able to gauge and check things if I can. So for not a whole lot of monies, you can get some nice gauges. Another thing I also thought was a waste of money are modified cases. Whoop. So you can find your overall length in your specific chamber. That's a whole other discussion, but those are really fun too. Sure haven't done a whole lot of loading, I'm just blabbing. Wow. Hell, I have a couple thousand brass of all your calibers and no range sweeping for you. Hey, you're going to think that? You think that, and then you're going to be like, well, now I got all my brass loaded, but that's for the next apocalypse, so it's stored. I'm not going to touch that. I don't have any brass to play with now. So you might think you have enough brass. You're going to want to go ahead and fill up a few more 5-gallon buckets. And if you're like, why the hell would you need a 5-gallon bucket to hold brass with, sir? I actually have, if I finish this, I have to start on this bucket of 300 blackout. Because over here, I've got a large stack of projectiles to load. So there's always projects, more stuff to work on. And you're always going to need more brass because you're going to get bored one day also. And you're going to want to sort your stuff by head stamp. Now, this is only for the super OCD. You don't have to do it with pistol stuff. But even my 5.56 range blasting ammo, I sort out every single piece of Lake City. And then I just throw all the other commercial stuff into a different pile. So I even sort out my NATO cases from commercial, and then sometimes I'll even divide those up by head stamp and have, oh look, I got 200 pieces for this bullet to put away or whatever. Mr. Mark Thomas, welcome aboard, sir. How you doing this evening? How are we doing? Hope you're doing swell. Having a good weekend so far. You doing any shooting lately? Did you ever happen to get you a deer with the 35 Remington there? That would have been sweet if you did. Whoa! Look at this guy. I didn't pull him out of the. He slipped through my QC process, but not this time, sir. I wonder what kind of weight difference this has. Let's see here. Well, my scale has powder on it, so 1 second. I'm obviously not going to use this bullet with the giant void in it, but we'll compare it to. There we go. Yep. Compare it to one that doesn't have a big void. So that one says 95.5 grains, and then a normal looking one is 96.2. Wow, that's crazy. That little space is worth a half a grain of lead. Weird. Let's just set him there, and actually let's yeah. Now he's smiling. Hi guys. Alright, sorry, that was highly regarded of me. Mr. Pickles, welcome aboard, sir. Thank you for the subscription. Look forward to more. Well, hey, unfortunately, I can't actually show you what's going on, but we can talk a whole bunch about it. And every once in a while, I'll go to the range and actually shoot some stuff. But right now, it's a little messy outside. But this summer, we're going to be doing some large upgrades. It's going to be friggin' awesome, actually. It's going to be friggin' awesome, actually. YouTube sucks. Hey, how did you know? No 35 rem lately? Oh, man. That's all right. I won't hold it against you. It is a fun one, though. I saw some brass pop up on AmmoSeek, and it's still like, for those unaware, if you've never heard of 35 Remington, it has its own proprietary case. You can kind of make it out of 308 if you have a lathe, and you can turn down the case head by a few thousandths to make it fit within the bolt of the 35 Remington. But otherwise, it's its own proprietary case, and no one freaking makes it. Let's see. So it's one of those that the cost of goods goes up because it's less common than something like the 9mm. I do have a question. Is it more cost effective to get into reloading your own ammo? I've heard different sides to this. All right, so Mr. Pickles, do you plan on ever quitting shooting ever in the next rest of your lifetime? Are you going to quit shooting ever? Do you ever plan on not shooting? You're going to sell all your guns one day and then just be like, all right, I'm over it. Because no one ever thinks about this. They're like, oh, I got to recoup my cost. How many rounds do I got to make to recoup my cost? Well, you could probably do it in like 500. If you're loading high-end, match grade, stuff that would cost $2 from the factory, if you can load that for 50 cents once you have the brass, obviously, within a few firings, you've paid for your entire rig. But if you think about this spread across your entire lifespan, if you shoot 1,000 rounds of any rifle caliber a year, you're loading it at a large savings, depending on when and where you buy your stuff. But there's going to be savings involved, and you're also going to be getting better ammunition that you've tailored to your own guns, and you're going to be getting probably more consistent because you're your own quality control, right? So like I was saying, you can make it as in-depth as you want or do it as cheaply as you want. And so what's a box of 9mm cost these days? Still $10, $12, $15 for 50 rounds. So we're looking between 20 and 30 cents a shot, right? Well, because I cast my my fishing sinker weights, because we cast our fishing sinker weights out of lead, that negates the largest part of the cost. So all I have to worry about is finding a primer to shove in there, which nowadays are pretty much common enough, primers are back around unless you need large rifle magnum, so you got 5 cents in a primer. Your brass is free from the range. or if you've already been shooting, you're keeping your brass, right? Right? You're keeping your brass. Yeah, you better be keeping your brass, or else I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to pick it up and reload it if you don't. Anyways, brass is free, bullet is free. So you got 5 cents in a primer, and with 5 grains of powder, you're looking at a penny or less. So 6 cents a shot versus 20 to 30 cents a shot for the cheapest factory stuff. So cost savings, and I did a quick load workup, tested a few different powder charges, found one that worked in my gun, and I was like, wow, let's do that. So that's what we're doing now. So I can do 1,000 primers for like $60 to $80. Sorry, 1,000 rounds of 9mm for $60 to $80 instead of 300. So if you do 1,000 rounds of 9mm every year for the last, 50 years of your life, then you're saving $200 a year on 9mm at that, at that load right there. Boom. Hell yeah, that's instant savings. Perfect answer. I was looking here. Thank you. Hey, no problem. Mr. Sage of the 16, welcome back, sir. Ghosts, how we doing? And M110? I don't have an M110. What is that? Is that the 308 load? I think you meant any M110. What is that? The 175 grain load? I'm uncertain. Yep, run hollow points for the FMJ prices. Yes, sir. Is it legal or is it okay to sell your buddy's ammo? So, the legalities of selling ammo or components, you have to have a license in America to sell. I cannot sell this to you out my door, down the street, in the Walmart parking lot. I don't have what's called an FFL. So I don't have the proper licensing to sell my product. But if, say, you came to me and you were like, here, I've got this jug of powder, I'll trade you for that box of ammo. We can barter. We can go the old-fashioned barter system where there's, no paper trail or data collection agencies. Class 6 FFL, ask me how I know. Sir, I would love to, set up my garage with 4 Dillon presses and crank out tens of thousands of rounds and sell it. If I didn't have to do all the licensing and deal with the government, I'd probably be doing that. I love barter. Yes, sir, it's the way. It's the way. Digital currency's a scam. Just FYI, so. Oh, is this the fun? Is this the tinfoil hat part of the stream? Already? We're only on for an hour so far. You work for a class 6 10 FFL with SOT. That's pretty sweet. Obviously, I don't want to ask who, or you don't have to divulge that information, but that is very cool. Ooh, are you actually loading on like the, what is it, Mark 7 or Apex systems, or is it real? I don't even know the company's name because they're giant and industrial or whatever. You said brass is free, bullets are free. How are bullets free? Range scrap lead. Yes, sir. There it is. Yep. Sorry, I didn't miss your other comment. I just was blabbing on about other shit. Yes, sir. Range scrap lead. To me, it's part of the hobby. I spend some of my time when I'm at the range digging up lead from the berm. It usually just, wow. It usually just sits right on top of the dirt. If you have a wooden backer and then a berm or steel targets, you're just going to find piles of lead at the bottom of that or behind your paper target stand. You just pick it up off the berm. You melt it down, you refine it, you get a mold, you melt it again. Once you have ingots that are cleaned up, and then you make these. All right. So, although my time's clearly involved and the tooling's clearly involved, once I've made 1,000 of these projectiles, I paid $40 for a mold. It would have cost $80 to $90 for factory FMJs. So I already, paid for half of it at least. Or no, I got double my investment out of it already. So it depends how much you use it, how much you're going to be reloading, but obviously, boom, instant savings. So if you find, 20 pounds of range lead that you've purified, you buy a $40 mold, you've got your melting pots maybe $100. After you make 1,000 to 2,000 projectiles, sinker weights, you're even, right? And then you have this new skill and these tools to proceed with. And then it just takes you further down the reloading rabbit hole if you're really into it. Because then there's different lead alloys, different hardnesses, 87 trillion different molds to try out. You can size your bullets, 50 different sizes. Generally, you want 1,000th over jacketed diameter. So these are 356 instead of 355 for 9mm. But you can go 356, 357, 358. Some people even just go 355 because with powder coating, it's like a magical jacket. I don't understand the science, but it seems like softer leads are more resilient because they have this synthetic jacket to encapsulate it, which prevents from leading as it's being pushed down your bore, so on and so forth. Ooh, I built a bullet catch in your range, but have not used enough to get into the recover. Maybe the end of this year. Yeah, sure? Ooh. You got mold, liner. Not sure what a liner is. I'm sure it's something. Everything your old friend used to make it happen. Heck yeah, dude. It's totally worth it. If you're in the sauce now, you're gonna get deep into it when you start casting. Because yeah, I don't remember the last time I bought 9mm projectiles. Even though they might be 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 cents a piece if you're shooting FM or hollow points or gold dots or something. Obviously your price can get up there. But there's plenty of savings to be had. Then I got, actually, speaking of hollow points, if we have any powder left in the dispenser, I'm trying to run out of that bottle, I've got a couple of these hollow points I want to load up because those are fun. They actually expand really, really well too. And I'm just using range scrap. There's nothing mixed into my alloy. So there's no hardening, extra antimony. I might have put a little nugget of tin in there to help it flow better and fill out the mold. But other than that, 100% range scrap. The luber. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. Nice. Oopsie. Autocorrect. Filter panels. Heck yeah, dude. You should be good to go as long as you have a source of lead. I sized a 357. They measure 356 and no leading when I love them weak. They're too soft and fly like shit. Antimony is expensive. Do you, is that with just range scrap? And do you quench them after powder coating? And yes, leading may be a cause if they are sized too small as the flame. It's called flame cutting. It goes aside the bullets around the rifling. You have 300 pounds of ingots. Well, sir, you should be set for at least a few casting sessions. You should be good to go. But now you're going to have to make sure you have a mold for every single bolt action you shoot. And then depending on what else, you know, I cast for every single thing I shoot. Except for 223 currently, because I don't have a bolt action for that anymore. And I just suck it up and buy jacketed projectiles for that. And if I want to train with my AR-15 for cheap, then I just shoot 300 blackout with cast loads. So you have, you know, an identical AR-15 form factor to play around with, but for, you know, 10 cents, I'm shooting my AR-15 instead of 40 to 50 cents, like factory 223 or 556 would be. I've heard people have been successful casting it, but my limited attempts were unsuccessful in the AR-15. However, when I had a bolt gun before I traded that one, if you kept it at about 1800 to 2000 FPS, they actually group pretty well. Still have some cast up, actually, but I'm not going to try them in the AR again. Yeah, I know some people can do it if they have like wheel weights or a really hard antimony, and then you gas check as well. I'm not doing all that. Rocky Mountain Reloading has lead. It's cheap. Yep, I actually, when they had their Christmas, well, pretty much since Black Friday, Christmas, and then New Year's, they've had the same, I think it was 11% off code. I used that and got the $100 box, 60 pounds, I think, and then it was like 89 delivered to my door. So for about, what, $1.30, I think, I got me a box of RMR lead. So if you don't have a range to salvage from, that's a great source. So yeah, even though I have a range I'm a member of, I've spent my money on more lead. Can't get primers for less than 8 cents. So much to learn. Yes, sir. I'm still learning there. I'm pretty much ignorant still. I know nothing. I'm not an expert, sir. Do not give me that credit. Don't you do it. I'm pretty much still a novice, but I've done lots of repetitions, but I pretend like I know nothing, so I don't humble myself by exploding my guns. You got 120 pounds? Heck yeah, brother. I should have got more. Next time they go on sale again, I'm going to get another box just to have because, oopsie, I didn't forget the math. I did the math one day. I'm going to do it again real quick. Let me get the stream it on the phone so I can use the calculator. Let me use the computer over here. 60 pounds times 7,000 grains is 420,000 grains divided by, let's just say 150. I can make 2,800 300 blackout bullets for $80. Holy crap. Wow. Sorry, no, $89 divided by 2,800 bullets. 3.1 cents for 300 blackout bullets. So there you go. And if those were even lighter, like this 95 grain bullet, then I would have approximately 50% more projectiles. So almost 4,000. I could make almost 4,000 of these for $89. Wow. Found some old SS-109 62 grain. Can't tell they were ever loaded. Need to finish up development for the 223 Wild Rig. Sir, have you been putting out videos I need to go check out? Do I need to get caught up with you? Have you been loading some stuff? I should have made a video. I haven't done a video in a while, but I think I got addicted to spray painting my guns. Has anybody rattle canned the crap out of their guns before? I should have made a video on it. I guess we'll just have to do that later. You know? Negative, sir. Well, darn it. We both need to make videos, right? I also wanted to do a 62 grain, penetrator load, but I don't want to ever shoot it because all I shoot at are steel targets here in my backyard. And I know it's not an accurate projectile, so if I were getting like 3 to 5 inches at 100, that's considered good. So I don't want to make a bunch of those and just never use them, although they would work really great on those scary Boston Dynamics drone dogs covered in armor plates. So I do need some of them for that. But otherwise, I might have to grab some from American Reloading now that you mention it. My math was 3 cents for 124 and like 6 for 130. I've been drinking, so I'm not going to double check. Hey, it's all good, brother. What are you drinking tonight? Your buddy rattle can super expensive guns. Well, a good thing I don't have any super expensive guns. I have a collection of cheap AR-15 black rifles and then like crappy. I call them crappy just because they're cheap. Obviously, they shoot pretty well. Savage Axis and like Mossberg Patriot. I didn't paint yet, but all my stuff is cheap. Going for the ding-a-ling. I've had my fair share of the Yinglings before. I think they make a light beer though, and it's like instead of the green label, it's like brown or something. I haven't had it in years, but that stuff was freaking horrible compared to the normal Yingling. I don't know if you were like wanting to try it, but it's not good. Oh shit, we just threw a primer. Good catch. Got him. Well, hell. Don't know how that happened. It's probably time to, I don't want to say refurbish my 550, but it could use a deep cleaning and a lubricating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've definitely put several digits worth of rounds through it. I have tons of cheap ARs. The yellow stuff, golden pills. No, it wasn't the Golden Pilsner. It was like the normal lager or whatever, but it was it was like the light one, or I don't recall, but it was not at all good compared to the standard. I haven't actually drank in almost 3 years, but you know, don't let me tell you what to do. I was more of an IPA guy when I drank. I need them strong, you know, like 6, 7, 8, 10%, some kind of retarded stuff like that. Those weren't cheap though. And it's not like they really tasted that great, because, you know, all the IPA guys are like, oh my God, it's this, you gotta just taste it. No, they were just strong and they got me really drunk. They just got me really drunk. And if I didn't do that, I was drinking, probably Miller Lights. Less money for guns and ammo. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I definitely have saved a shit ton of money from not drinking. It was certainly expensive. Especially when you, like, you know, total your car. Drive across State Highway 24 into oncoming traffic and ramp through the woods and up the hill on the other side, and then, yep, saved a lot of money since I quit doing that. Woo. Yeah, well, Mr. Miller. Mr. James Pollard, welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard, Mr. James. How you doing tonight? Loading anything? Loading anything up? You shooting lately? You're always shooting. Which is what you should be doing. Everybody should be shooting more often. Okay? I'm just throwing that out there. One of my crappy ARs I just rattle canned. I bought this cheap ass polymer lower. It was like $30, and it was cracked down the front of the magwell, where, like, I guess the two halves were, when it was either molded or whatever. There was a crack down the front of the magwell under the front takedown pin. So I got one of those giant magwell adapters that kind of slide over the magwell, and then you kind of clamp the crappy plastic stuff around it. So I've got that stuck to my crappy polymer lower that I had to put anti-walk pins in, because the crappy mil-spec trigger is, the pins were loose in the crappy polymer lower once I had tapped those in. So I had to get anti-walk pins for the shitty polymer lower with the stupid extended magwell adapter. So that's really fun. But anyways, it doesn't have a buffer or any of that shit because I've got the CMMG conversion kit. So it's really light, but all of the weight is in the upper. So it, like, you could set it on the magwell and it just wants to fall forward. So it's really lightweight compared to my normal ARs, but it's not balanced very well yet. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Loaded about 200, 5.56 yesterday. Heck yeah. I've been procrastinating, but I really need to load up some 5.56. I was fortunate and made a snag from American Reloading, because their stuff goes out of sale in like 10 minutes. But I grabbed some, they call it similar to Accurate 2230, I think is what they put on the bottle. But the maximum charge for the data they provide, which is only one load, is like the starting charge of 20 other powders. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to work up a load with that. It didn't make any sense probably, but basically I have a powder I roughly know the burn rate speed of. So I'm going to start at like 18 grains or something. And work up from there. Because they say start at 5% lower than 25 grains, which would be math. Like, what, 24.5 grains or 24.6 or something? So that's not really that big of a difference than 25. So I'm going to start way lower and see where it actually starts to function, the action and all that. Because if I can save a few grains of powder and not beat up the brass and only be at like 40K PSI or, excuse me, like 40K, 45K, even 50K compared to 55K or 62, is going to be a lot less wear on the brass. So I'm going to be using my pulled powder with pulled cheap projectiles that are all mixed and random. Same weight. But I've got a lot of 5.56 to load up. That stuff will be fun with the binary trigger. Ding, 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 ding. That'll be fun for that. Anybody else play with the binary trigger? Because if you hate money, you need a binary trigger. If you hate money, you need to get a binary trigger. Holy crap, whoa, need more brass. Ooh. Oh yeah. Mr. Josh Priest, what is up, sir? Pardon the noise, sorry. You have some 2520 American reloading powder. It seems to burn a little on the fast side. See, that's what I'm worried about, so that's why I was going to start way lower. Let's actually take a look. Ooh, I can't click on your picture, Mark. They don't even list it on the bottle. Let's see here. It just says MP427, 223 round, 25 grain is only 28.25. That's pretty slow. It seems like a starting charge velocity, or they use a 16-inch barrel. So, yeah. FRT, Scott, where'd you get your FRT? I want one. I saw them on sale a few times recently, but that sale has ended. Now they're back up to like $1,600 or not $600. But if they get down like this summer, if someone has one for $300, I'm gonna get me an FRT. I'll tell you what, because the binary's fun, but it's no FRT. Never actually used an FRT, but I could imagine what it would be like. Ooh, your son has an MP5 with a binary. We burned 1,000 rounds in a couple of hours. Yeah, really, you spend more time loading magazines than you do shooting. Which makes me really want to invest into some sort of speed loader. Not even a speed loader, just something to, so I don't have to hurt my thumbs all day loading up magazines. The simplest solution would be to get one of the up lulas. If you've not seen one of the mag lula or up lula, I forget what the product and what the brand name is, but it's one of those. But yeah, you just like flip this thing over, slide one in, flip it back, slide one in, up, 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 up. And you can go pretty quick. Hell, I'm going to make one once the ATF gives up the cap. There you go. Well, apparently, you can just get a super safety for like $10 from Etsy, or get a 3D printer. And like you said, you can make your own. Like you said, you can make your own. Sure would be nice if we could get rid of the alphabet, boys. Mm-hmm. You have MP495. What's mine? 427, I think is it. 427. All it says is work up using 2520 minus 10%. Huh. So does that work for you? Like you start 10% lower, but you just hit pressure signs a little bit sooner? Is that what you meant by faster burning? Matthew, good morning from South Africa. Sir, happy midnight from Tennessee. Glad to have you here. Welcome aboard. How are things in South Africa? Need to control them better and put them towards alcohol and tobacco. You know, I'm just saying, when was the last time they ever did anything with alcohol or tobacco? Maybe it's been really recently, but I don't pay attention to those markets. I'm not an alcohol or a tobacco hobbyist, so I don't know if the ATF's been fucking with any of them at all, but they sure do like them some Fs. They sure do like some Fs. Like, when was the last time the Marlboro man got raided and his dog got taken out because he had too many cigarettes? It's a revenue agency, and the NFA keeps them nose in it. Yes, sir, you are correct. You are correct, sir. Yeah, so you know how that whole 4473 thing is totally not a backdoor registry? I wonder how long it's been a backdoor registry. Probably since day one, right? Would we have any reason to believe otherwise? Would we ever? Is there any reason to believe them otherwise? So silly. You heading out, Mark? You have a good one, sir. We will see you next time. Have a good night, sir. Stay safe out there in the great polar northern state of Indiana. So this is probably really random and off topic. Is anybody into woodworking? Is anybody doing any woodworking? And then even further, way further off topic than that, does anybody play a stringed instrument? And then even further than that, have you ever built your own stringed instrument, perhaps out of wood? Ooh, this pile of bullets is definitely smaller than when I started, but it doesn't seem like it's moving at all. Seeing pressure signs at 25 grains with 64 grain projectiles only slightly, and that's good enough for me. Heck yeah, do you know what velocity you're getting to? That would be interesting to see where, you know, what that looks like out of your barrel length compared to apparently 25-20. So funny story about that jug of powder I have. I ordered it a week after a different jug of powder. And that one has been stuck in Memphis for over a dang month now. So, yeah. I got a refund on that one the other day. Because that's just ridiculous. Built a mag loader from AR. For an AR from wood. That is, ooh, is it like the little tray style where you line them all up and just go boom? Slap them in there? Or maybe you have a sweet video I need to look at. Ooh, 2750 out of a Savage Axis. Nice. What is that? 20 inches? 20-inch barrel? That's got some spice to it. That's a nice spicy load. 64 grain. What are those? Were those from American Reloading also? Thought I had seen that they had some pull downs or seconds or something. Is it a soft point perhaps? Those look cool though. But I'm currently drowning in 55 grainers I need to load up. And then for my super serious loads, I have the picked up a bag of the 75 grain Mid-South black tips. Have any of you guys seen those or tried them? I think they're just VMAX or whatever Palmetto State puts into their Saber ammunition. The little black tip. Mid-South gets to sell those for whatever reason. And I have a bag of the 75 grainers that I need to play with. Have some of those set aside and ready to go for a rainy day. So I also just not recently, it's probably been 6 freaking months and I've done about nothing with it. I've got a Palmetto 20-inch upper with a 1-in-7 twist. So I want to see what kind of ballistics we can get with a 20-inch barrel and a 75 grainer. And then potentially take that out to Fort Campbell someday. Just the upper, so I don't have to register it with a different government agency. But use it on my buddy's lower at Fort Campbell and try and shoot out to like 800 yards or something. That would be sweet. Otherwise, I can shoot targets out at the range I'm a member of out to 300 yards. Which is, I should probably go there just to get that load kind of zeroed in before we stretch out that far. Looks like my brass prep bucket is getting full there. Look at this ugly piece we're going to toss. Normally, I would just say load it. But that's kind of gougy. Might actually have cracked some material there. Whoopsie. With the cold weather, I have all but 100 rounds of brass loaded now. Sir, I am jealous because I just prepped a crap ton of 308 brass and I primed all of it. It's ready to be loaded. And now I'm working on 300 blackout. I got like 3 gallons I need to work through. And then I can load those. And then I've got about 5 gallons of 223 to work through all those American reloading components we were just talking about. Because funny story, I got 2 of those bottles of powder instead of 1. But yeah, I'm also stuck inside, loading up and doing brass prep because it's crappy out. You know, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. James, do you shoot the 350 Legend? Or do any of you guys do the 350 Legend? Because I just basically retired my AR upper. I'm not a fan of the 350 Legend in an AR, but I went out and bought a bolt action 350 Legend. So I don't have to worry about it cycling in action or violently feeding up an AR magazine up the ramp and all that crap. So I can basically shoot, you know, these bullets out of my 350 Legend at like 2,000 feet per second in my backyard just for fun. And it'll be a whole lot of a fun. Whole lot of a fun? It doesn't make any sense. That sounds like something a dummy would say. A lot of fun since I don't have a bolt action or single shot or lever gun for 357 Magnum, but I can do it 7 shots at a time with the 350 Legend. Because straight wall cases are fun. Working a bolt action or a lever gun is fun. And not having to fight and worry about like AR-15 pressures and cycling is fun. When you can just go out and essentially play Hickok in your backyard. Never got a 350. Yeah, my next, well, I don't know about my next one because I'm just going to keep buying guns forever and ever, but I really want a 450 Bushmaster bolt action. And although that one is a lot of fun in an AR, yeah, 450 is fun in an AR, and it actually, so I don't get it, right? Maybe it's because they're both Bear Creek Arsenal, maybe. I've had good luck overall with Bear Creek, but my 350 Legend had problems right out the gate. I had to send it to him twice to get it running, and then I was never able to load it how I wanted to with cast bullets cycling through an AR. But with a bolt action, it should be easy. I should be able to do whatever grain I want. I should be able to do stupid duplex loads now. Stack 2 of these up inside the case. We can do this stupid stuff now that I have a bolt action, right? Right. Pan hazmat is a killer. Yes, sir, it is. I just go to shop and buy. It costs more. I always find new stuff. Yeah, unless you're buying an 8-pounder or, you know, 5,000 primers or something, hazmat totally screws it. Like if you're paying $60 for primers, but then hazmat is 30 and shipping is 10, your 6-cent primer now costs you 11 cents after tax, right? But if you're going to buy 5,000 primers at 6 cents a piece, your $300 turns into $330. So it only goes up to maybe 7 cents a piece instead of 6. Or instead of 11 if you're paying for 1 brick at a time. So reloading is definitely a thing where bulk matters a lot. Bulk definitely matters a lot. Mr. Turbo Coop, how we doing, sir? Welcome aboard. You should be processing brass, but I'm sitting here watching you process. Sir, I don't want to tell you to stop watching, but you can take your phone out into the garage and process some brass. Unless your garage is like surrounded by snow, then it's probably cold and miserable, in which case you should sit inside in the warmth and just process brass tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you being here. What kind of brass do you need to be working on? Rabbit hole. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Scott. It goes deep, my friend. Because I think it was you asking about the Magnum primers. And so with an AR-15, if you have to worry about it cycling, you're going to want to use the really slow powders that build up proper gas to cycle the action. Whereas if I use something like Tight Group, which is a pistol powder, I might be able to achieve a similar velocity, but the gas generated by that powder, that burn rate, that type of powder, you know, is not significant to cycle an AR-15. So there's more than just velocity involved in reloading. There's pressure and gases and whatnot. So yes, the rabbit hole, sir. It does not stop. It does not stop. Also, I need some smaller ammo cans. I only have a 50 cal can for my 9mm here, and it's only going to fill up like a little bit of it. So I'm going to run out of bullets and have too much can left and not enough ammo. Not enough ammo, man. Actually, I have this partially filled one where I ran these frangibles. A story, you can't really tell how far it goes in there, but this is a 95 grain frangible bullet, but they go way into here because it's like a polymer, copper polymer sort of alloy thing. So it's much lighter than lead. So to be 95 grains, it's sitting into like this far into the case probably. And it's seated out much further than this 95 grain bullet, which is only sitting down to here. Oh. Somewhere in there. So I could just dump all the 95 grains together in that same ammo can, right? Is that something you can do, right? No. Maybe I'll just throw those into a Ziploc into the 95 grain ammo can. I don't know, man. First world problems. Ammo can also smells like fish food for some reason. I don't know if you guys have ever smelled little fish food flakes, but it smells like death and horrible. For whatever reason, this ammo can also resembles that smell. And now my room stinks like that, so that's pretty gross. That's what you get for buying random surplus crap, right? Last primer and powder you got when they had free hazmat? Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are doing free hazmat these days. Or like at any given time, one of the major retailers are going to be doing free hazmat. Whether it's Brownells or Midway or Mid-South or Natchez or Powder Valley. At any given time, one of those guys are going to be offering free hazmat. And even sometimes they're doing sales on powder these days too, which is crazy. Haven't seen that in a long time. I think maybe Natchez or Powder Valley. They had some H335 for $35. Can you believe that? Ew. Apparently this one wasn't completely swaged. Oh man, we got him stuck. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't get rid of the primer crimp. Have no fear. Dylan 550 will smash through it. Potentially, if I can get it back into the shell plate. Am I? Honestly, we can... this probably won't work because I already deformed it, but we can deprime this piece of brass. Salvage the primer. Don't blow my hand off, please. God. Oh, it just fell out. Weird. So yeah, we've obviously... Focus! Deprimed the primer, the piece of brass. Yeah, that didn't take any effort at all. That was kind of... We're going to toss him over there. And I don't think this is going to work, but we can try again. Don't double charge that case. We'll pull him out. Put him back in the press. This is going to most likely not work. But, you know, man, with the primers being 6 freaking cents a piece, it's still double the cost of normal, but oh, I think we made it. Do a couple rotations to make sure it's centered or something. Some of you guys would have thrown this in the trash already and moved on. Like I'm about to, because yep, too much material missing. That's big flake just fell off. So now the primer doesn't hold in. Boink. Here we have a Fiocchi small pistol primer. You can see the red compound. It has a brass anvil that matches in the brass cup, as you can see. And I squished the shit out of it with a piece of military brass. In the trash you go. Yes, okay. Use the RCBS primer reamer. Primer reamer. What do I use? I just put it on my case prep center and use the fatter version of this. So whatever the hell that is. But yes, I've seen that RCBS tool where it bottoms out, takes out the right amount of material, but won't go too far. That looks very nice. That looks very nice indeed. Anyways, where were we? Slowly trucking along here. Never trash, recycle it. In your case, save for melting down. Yeah, I've got a couple 5-gallon buckets worth of brass to it. At some point in my life, build the crappy forge and melt down into brass ingots at least. That'll be sweet. So if you have a cool DIY on making some sort of kiln I can do brass in, feel free to share that. Because I don't know what I would do with a brass ingot, but I would have a pile of them. If anything, I could just sell it for scrap pricing, right? Trade it for lead at the scrapyard, maybe? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. We got the Lee Ram Swage, works good. Works good. I have the, now that you mention it, since I've moved, I haven't unpacked it, but I have the Lee APP with the swaging kit on that. And that's how I actually did all this 9mm that was processed was with Lee APP. You run them all once with the sizer, and then you run them all once with the swager. And then you're good. Like really, you can just doink, doink. That's probably the rate of APP, I would say. It's pretty quick. Once you get it dialed in, and you've kind of got it set up to be able to account for all the different head stamps, it's a very quick machine. A very, very quick machine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. $100 smelter, brass ingot, turn into a frame you're going to make. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool. Like a picture frame or something. Maybe I would learn how to do like casting with the brass. Like make a mold in the sand or whatever and do some casting that way. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Oh, a freaking 1022 frame. Dude, that would be sick. That was my second thought, was like a receiver frame kind of thing. That would be sweet. But I wasn't sure which frame you were thinking. So my dummy head went straight to picture frame. And then once I said it, imagine an AR billet. That would be sick. Is a brass billet, like what kind of strength does it have compared to an aluminum billet for a receiver? Especially if it's just holding like the trigger and then you slap the upper to it where all the noise is happening. Or is it, it's probably too soft, it might bend or something. I don't know. High polished little boy Henry. Ooh. Dude, that would be awesome. You have to keep me updated on that project. I want to know about that. Ooh, it's going to beep. We're going to get a beep here in a minute. It's going to do it. Got him. Got him. Okay, well, I have more bullets left, probably less than 50, but I'm only going to do whatever amount of primers I have left here. Yeah. Oh. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Don't let anybody ever tell you that this is the worst part of reloading, is filling up primer tubes. The worst part of reloading is brass prep. So don't let anybody ever lie to you. Brass prep is not fun. But it's almost meditative, right? If you get in the right groove, you can direct your focus, take your head away from whatever might be stuck in your head all day. It's very repetitive. You can do your own QC, make sure everything is in specs. So brass prep is very important. But if someone tells you it's a lot of fun, they might be lying to you. Has anybody used the MagTech primers yet? Been seeing pretty much everybody carrying MagTech these days. And I went ahead and bought a bunch of them, but I haven't used them yet. So if anybody has any experience on the MagTech, specifically small pistol or small rifle. Kind of weird though, because the box they came in, the tray, it's like it's made for the large primers and they just put the small ones in there. So, you know, there's a lot of flopping in the casing, or in the case of primers, but it was probably just a uniformity, packaging, cost savings kind of thing to not have to have a separate tray for the small primers, I guess. That's my only guess, maybe. Still using 40-year-old primers, herders and such. That's freaking awesome, dude. I am actually impressed. Good for you. If they work, I would say, why not? Use them up. Use them up. What's the saying? You're gonna run what you brung. So if you have some herders primers and they still go bang, then sir, you should keep on loading your herders. Is that an American brand? Is Herders a domestic product? Because I know they make like steel case, different steel case varieties of ammo and maybe some different hunting labs, but was never certain if they were a domestic company or if Herders was imported. Whoa. Almost smashed the bullet all crooked like. So don't do that. So do you also have a bunch of 40-year-old powders? I have a bunch of, well, almost 40-year-old, I guess. I've got a tote full of old powders from like the 90s and early 2000s. So I guess some of that is at least 30 years old. But so I don't have a use for it, but there's like a partial bottle of Hodgdon 4350 or something, which is like, the powder for all of your Creedmoor cartridges and sort of that region of the burn chart, 4350, right? There was Sharpie written on the cap where the price was, and it says like $24.99 or something. And I'm pretty sure today that same powder is like $54.99. So if I had a case that would be useful to reload it in, I would, probably have some new product on hand, but it would be fun to compare the 30-year-old bottle that happens to cost $30 less with the new production. Wouldn't that be fun? See how consistent they kept it over the past 30 years? Because it is a partial bottle, so I don't know, how well it was stored, or maybe what kind of moisture and humidity might have gotten into it over the years. But it still smells like, fresh gunpowder. And if you've ever laid out a little strip of it on some foil or just on your workbench or whatever, I might have some streak marks here somewhere. But if you actually burn powder out in the open, it burns a lot slower than you would think. It just kind of goes something silly like that. But that old powder burns like that, and it still smells like powder. So I'm guessing it's still good. So that would be interesting to compare with modern production from 30 years apart. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I've got some of those old, what do you say, powders in steel cans. Yep, I've got some of them are a full pound, and some of them are only 8 ounces, because that little metal tin, they sound small. Some of them little tins are so small, they only hold 8 ounces. Still goes boom. Got some 700 unique and red dot. Dude, those are all awesome pistol and shotgun powders. I want to say 700X is my favorite, but it's probably just the first one I used, so I used it the most. So I'm like sentimentally more attached to that, I guess you could say, compared to red dot, which I really love for cast rifle loads, as well as unique. That's one of my favorite pistol loads and cast rifle powders. So all three of those are probably my 3 favorite shotgun and pistol powders. Well, that's awesome, actually. Good for you, man. It smells good, and it's not turning light brown. It's probably fine. Yeah, they still just look like normal sticks of whatever extruded powder. Mine was in outside storage, unheated garage for 10 years. Never thought I'd get into reloading. Came disabled, needed something to do for 20 years later. Dug it out, started reloading last year. Heck yeah, dude. Actually, as long as the humidity content isn't so much an issue, as long as it's not like actually wet, but as long as you kept it out of direct sunlight, it won't break down. But going from hot to cold between the summer and winter months, that's not that big of a deal compared to it being wet or in moisture. So as long as it was dry and shit. Well, that one's not going to be crimped, but that's what I get for talking to the internets. We almost squibbed ourselves. I rotated the thingy. without putting powder in it. I was going to just sit a bullet on the empty case. Don't do that. I feel like I do this almost every other stream. But I catch it at least. At least I catch it. So don't reload while you're distracted. I could have just caused a squib, and that could have blown my gun apart at some point in the future. What a freaking moron. Anyways, let's confirm this one has powder. Yes, sir. And we're back at it. But if I find the one that doesn't plunk when I'm out on the range, that'll just give me a good reason to practice malfunction clearing. If I found the one that doesn't chamber, it was the one that just didn't get crimped right now. Because I indexed the press before I did that stage. Which is bad, so don't do that. Good thing I'm about done here. Once this thing goes beep here after another one or two, I might have 6 rounds left. So yeah, always be cautious. Always double check your case has powder in it before you set a bullet on it. Always pay attention to what you're doing instead of talking to people on the internet. Wow. And if you do have to step away from the press, I leave my handle in the up position. Quick look. Woo. See, last time I stepped away, I had it down. So in my mind, that means turn and do the next step. But if I leave the handle up, in my silly brain, it means we're mid-step. Something still needs to happen. Too bad I didn't do that last time. Anyways. It must be getting late. I'm at the rambling stage and the starting to screw stuff up stage. So, be a more proficient loader than I, and don't talk to the inlets while you're loading. Woo! Mr. Devil Monkey 078, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. What press do we use? We are on a Dillon 550 right now. The old blue Dillon 550. Reloading while distracted eats up your cost savings. Sir, you are absolutely correct. I think one of the last videos I actually posted was LOL, good thing we caught that squib while I was loading on the live stream. So I'm not going to make that video again, but obviously pay attention to what you're doing. Be careful. Know what you're looking for. And I will put a note in this ammo. 1 round. Might not chamber, was not crimped. So later when I go to shoot this in 6 months from now over the summer, or tomorrow, I don't know. Might go shooting tomorrow out in the snow. Either way, taking notes and leaving more notes is better than taking and leaving less notes. All right, I might have one more primer left. One more here. There she is. And we don't need to feed any more brass. Okay, well I got a small handful to play with. Try some duplex loads in the 350 Legend. Because that could be fun, right? Okay, that was fun. Oh gosh. Sorry, earthquake test. Good, Emma. Thanks for helping me out. Oh, no problem, dude. Any questions, just let me know. Download your videos for later viewing. Your net selection usually drops out a lot. Well, if you're watching any other videos, leave a comment or whatever. Shoot me an email if you want to. dummyroundtn@gmail.com. If you have any questions, sometimes I check that email. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got them all done. Woo, look at them. But I run out of primers for tonight. Anyways. Yeah. Well, that was fun. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. But it's enough for me tonight. It's not quite bedtime. Gonna go have a snack, but then it's bedtime. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Let me know if you have any other questions. And stay tuned for more, because we'll see you guys in the next live stream or video. So have a good weekend. Stay safe. Don't make any squibs. Get your brass prepped and ready for the summer when it's nice to go shooting. And we'll see you folks on the next one. So have a good time. Later.